Hello friends, and welcome to The Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my third video in my year-long deep dive into the Lenormand system. Yeah? The system that was probably begun in Germany and was named after a very, very well-known cartomancer, a diviner, an oracle, a seer named Madame Lenormand from France. And I don't know if you know this, but there is a deck from the United States that is very, very similar to and almost contemporaneous with the French Lenormand decks called Madame Moreau's Oracle, and it's basically the same thing. It's the same thing, only that deck was named after a famous, well-known seer, cartomancer from the United States. So, yeah, this development of cartomancy from the Game of Hope from Germany spread pretty quickly. And it's a wonderful system. It's an interesting system. It's a fascinating thing, and I'm still learning. I'm sure all of us are still learning, but I'm still at the middle to late beginner portion of my journey with Lenormand. I've been studying for a while on my own, but I'm beginning my public journey with it, right? So, here we are in my deep dive into the Lenormand system. And before we get to this week's spread, I'd like us to gather our attention around a topic. That's how I begin these videos, right? And if you saw the title to this week's video, I'm curious, how did you react to it? Does the title make sense to you? Or is it confusing? Is it triggering? How does the title, The Burden of Commitment, land for you? What do I mean when I think of the burden of commitment? Let's go there. Let's go in the direction of why I chose this title. The burden of commitment, for me, is what we oftentimes feel after we have made a very strong, committed choice. It could be in any area. It could be in a relationship, yeah, like a wedding. It could be choosing to go and work at a job, at a company, at some form of employment. It could be the choice to begin some creative project. When we make a commitment, oftentimes, at the beginning, how does it feel? Well, for me, it's exciting, yeah? We have what many call the honeymoon period. And it could be a literal honeymoon period. It could be the time after we get married, and then we go off on the honeymoon, and then after the honeymoon, that period of excitement and love and passion around the choice that we've made. And again, it doesn't have to be in a relationship. It could be with a job. Yeah, we get into the job, it's new, it's exciting, and we have a honeymoon period where we're learning, and wow, isn't this interesting, and oh, there's so much to find out. It could be with a creative project as well. We begin the creative project and we realize there is so much to this, and wow, where am I going to go with it? And it's exciting, and it's fresh, and it's new, and it's a honeymoon period. But all periods, just like the honeymoon period, come to an end, right? And then what happens? Suddenly, things are not so clear. That excitement wears off. We begin to show up not as the best version of ourselves, but as our sometimes unconscious triggered selves, right? Sometimes we've made this decision, and then there are bright, shiny things off in the distance that distract us from the commitment we've made. Sometimes we start feeling confusion, right? We might be confused because we've made one decision, right? We've made one big decision, we've committed to it. And then suddenly, maybe not so suddenly, but after time, there are new decisions to be made within the parameters of this thing that we've committed ourselves to. And we didn't really anticipate these other things we had to choose, and now we're confused. Which direction do I need to go within these parameters? It could be the choice is not as clear as we thought it was when we first made that commitment to it. Yeah? Things come up that make the first commitment that we've committed ourselves to a little confusing. Yeah? It looked like I was choosing this thing, but maybe this thing is not exactly what I thought it was. Or maybe we could start feeling self-doubt. Am I really up to this? Am I really capable of seeing this commitment through? Am I worthy? Am I capable? Am I clever enough? Am I creative enough? Am I emotionally open enough? Am I willing to share as much as is being asked of me? Yeah? Things can begin to be confusing. And so that commitment that we saw as bright and shiny and wonderful at first can become a burden, can feel like a burden. What do we do with that? Does that mean that we give up? Does it mean that we suffer in silence? Does it mean that we fight against those things that we feel have appeared as obstacles? What do we do? Well, I think this week's Lenormand spread is pointing generally in that direction. And it's not necessarily going to be a bright, shiny reading, I don't think. We'll see. We'll dive into this thing together. Let's see where we end up. As usual, I've got basically my ideas organized, but as we read these cards together, those organized ideas may reorganize mid-read, if that makes sense to you. So, we'll see where this goes. What are we going to do? Now, just in case you are new here, what I will do is I will show you the entire spread first. And we will discuss briefly the cards we saw and what positions those cards are holding. And then we'll break the spread into its two major parts and read those two major parts together. Okay, are you all ready? Now, friends, you may notice that my voice is a little stronger than it was last week, but it's not as strong as I hoped it would be for us at this point. But we're going to do this video, and I'm sure that the next week my voice is going to be even stronger. Are you all ready? Well, here we are. Are you all ready? Let's dive into this week's spread together. Here it is. Friends, if you've been following along with this deep dive into the Lenormand system with me, you will recognize these decks. Now, these are the decks that I have used from the beginning of this deep dive and will continue to use until the new moon. I've decided for this 12-month period, I'm going back to my old habit of sticking to one set of decks for each lunar cycle. So there will be between 12 and 13 different decks and spreads. Well, no, okay, different decks that we're going to be using together. And I'm not going to change spreads every lunar cycle. I'm probably going to keep with this spread for 2 lunar cycles minimum. At least that's my plan. Yeah? Because I think this spread is really interesting. You just saw it. Yeah, the decks that I'm using in this spread are the Game of Hope, which is created by a wonderful creator called, her name is Irene, and her site is the Cartomancer at Big Cartel. And there'll be a link in the description box below to this deck in particular, but look at her whole. She's got a lot of facsimile decks. She's got a lot of Lenormand decks. She's got a lot of Tarot decks, Tarot de Marseille in particular. She's got some Atea decks. She's got a wonderful set of offerings, and her cardstock is phenomenal, and I recommend everything on her site. So I'll have a link to this deck, but go explore on your own. The Tarot deck that you see is a borderless Centennial deck. The deck that I'm using, I don't think is available. The one that is in the description box below is available through Amazon, and the fronts are borderless. The backs have a border on them, and I think the border on the deck that is available now is thicker than the border that I have. And frankly, I don't get why we would publish a borderless deck with a border on the backs. Just saying. If you're going with borderless on the front, why not do borderless on the back? You know what I mean? Anyways, so, but I love this deck. I love the palette of this deck. I love the aged and worn feel of the deck, and I also like the cardstock from US games that I have. I think the cardstock that they're using on the current deck is the same. It's a little bit waxy. It shuffles really well. It's kind of thick, so you need to have a little bit of strength in your hands, but it's really a wonderful, wonderful deck to use. I know other people don't like the borderless version. I love the borderless version. So, to each his and her or her own, right? So, those are the decks. And they were in two groups. Yeah, the 6 cards in the center from the Lenormand deck give us what I call, and what many others call, a above-below spread, right? The 3 cards above give us basically what's in our conscious mind, and the 3 cards below show us what is beneath that. And it could be unconscious, or it could be pre-conscious. It could be just what is moving around beneath our conscious perspective, right? And those 6 cards are read in many different ways, and we'll get into that in just a moment. The 4 cards from the Tarot deck are in a positional spread which is elementally based. So, for you, the upper right hand, let's go with the upper left hand. The upper left hand corner is where fire lives. Now that fire, our passions and our desires and our leadership, our creativity are there. And then the lower right hand side will be water for our emotions and our intuition and our unconscious, right? And then in the upper right hand corner is the air for our perspective, our conscious mind, our rational mind, our planning. And then the lower left hand side, we have earth for our work, our resources, our health, all of that. So we'll read those 4 cards together after we read the 6 cards in the center for the Lenormand. Yes? That makes sense? If it makes sense, let me know in the comments below. If it does not make sense, let me know in the comments below. I'll figure out, hopefully, a clearer way of describing that. Also, before we get into the reading, I'd like to thank you ahead of time. Thank you for all of you who hit the thumbs up button, and thank you for all of you who have subscribed to this channel. You help me and you help other people as well. You help other people find the content, and those people are grateful for you as well. Thank you very much. And thank you for commenting in the description box, in the comment section also. I love engaging with you. I love interacting with you. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Okay, friends? So, I need to take a sip of water, and while I do that, let's look at the 6 central Lenormand cards once more together. Here they are. Friends, you saw in the top row from left to right, we had the moon, the ring, and the clouds. And then below that, from left to right, we had the cross, the book, and the garden. Now, just some things to recognize. The moon and the ring have shown up a couple of times already in this deep dive into the Lenormand, right? The moon has shown up 3 times. Twice in the top central section, and then now once in this upper left-hand section, right? Left-hand section, right? So, we keep focusing on the moon, especially in our conscious sphere, because it's always been it has been in the top these last 3 times. It's very, very interesting. Now, when we look at the cards overall, if we look at positive, negative, neutral, which is one way to get a quick overview over the cards. Now, the top central card for me is going to be the first central message of the spread. So for the last 2 weeks, that has been the moon. Now the moon has shifted over, and the ring has taken its place, which is commitment, right? Stability, relationships, cyclical things as well. And we can link the moon and the ring together as they both also indicate cycles, right? Yeah, the moon is cyclical on a monthly basis, and the ring also shows us cycles, the wheel of life, of things that are cyclical, circular. But for me, this really is a spread about commitment, I believe. And hopefully you can understand why I believe that. But then we look at the positivity and negativity and the neutrality of the cards. And we have the moon, which is positive, neutral, the ring, which is positive, and the clouds, which are negative, on the top. Now, so we've got the positive, negative cancel each other out. So we've got a positive, neutral vibe to the top 3 cards. And then in the bottom, we have the cross, which is negative. Probably the most, you could debate, is the cross the most negative, or is the coffin the most negative? I think there's a worthy debate there, but the cross is negative, yeah? The book is neutral, negative, yeah? And the garden is neutral. So we've generally got a fairly negative set of cards below. More negative than the cards above are positive. So overall, we've got a fairly negative spread here, a fairly negative reading, which doesn't mean bad, 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 but it means that there's some trouble here. There's some difficulty that this spread is pointing towards. So we've got a difficult spread around commitment. So what is that going to tell us? Is that going to tell us to break the commitment? I don't think so. I don't think so. If perhaps the scythe card had been here, or the coffin card, maybe we could have thought, yeah, maybe this is time to end the relationship, right? But they're not here, right? Instead of that, we've got burdens, we've got confusion. It's that direction of the negativity that I think this spread is pointing towards. And let's see if my instincts are correct. So let's look at the 3 cards at the top. What do we have? We have the moon, we have the ring, and we have the clouds. Right? So the moon, intuition, emotion, our emotional lives. Yeah, how the moon will affect our emotions, right? Also our dream life, the moon can give us that. But there's that aspect of the moon. There's also the aspect of our reputation, right? Our reputation and our recognition in the public sphere. Yeah, the moon rises, right? The moon waxes. So it can be a success card. Not nearly the success card of the key or the sun, but it could be indicating some success. A rising reputation, an increase in recognition. But for me, it's also our heart business, the thing that we love or that impassions us. For example, if you have a 9-to-5 job, which is your income job, yeah? The job that provides your day-to-day finances for rent, food, mortgage, insurance, whatever, right? Your main source of income. If you have that job, and then you have the thing that you do because you love doing it, whether it earns you an income or not, you still love doing it. That can also be the moon for me. It could be a side hustle. It could be a heart business, something that you love doing. So for me, personally, yeah, my day-to-day job, teaching English, would be for me the anchor. Yeah, that's my place, my source of stable income. It's for me, the anchor is the job card. I know other people place the job card in other places. There are people who read the job card as the fox, for example. I don't get it, but I know that there are people out there who read the fox as the job card. For me, that is not the place. For me, the job is the anchor. And the moon is the thing that I do just because I love doing it. And for me, doing this having this YouTube channel, teaching tarot in my tarot classes, those are my moon card. In addition to emotion, in addition to reputation, right? So we start off with that. This is our noun, perhaps. So the ring gives us what? Long agreements, stability, and relationships, right? They could be actual like relationships like a marriage, but it could also be a contract. Especially near a letter, it could be a contract, right? So for me, this is commitment to our heart work, the work that we do because we love doing it, right? The ring and this together brings us to the clouds. Now we know what the clouds can be: problems, they could be delays, they could be confusion, ambiguity, and something intangible. There's a darkness and opacity, opaqueness and opacity. Things being hidden, not secret, but hidden, obscured, right? Here. There could be depression. There could be a feeling of oppressiveness. If the clouds is indicating a person, it could be an older man, but a troublesome older man, or a troublesome ex could be indicated here. Yeah? Somebody who might be indecisive or skeptical or confused. Yeah, a very old man. This could be a man with dementia or a person with dementia. Or a person who is spiritually uncertain, right? It relates to an age, a maturity, but also a confusion and an indecisiveness and maybe a skepticism. Now, I don't think this card is pointing to a person in in this part of this spread. What I think is that this card is pointing towards that side of confusion, of ambiguity, of problems, maybe. The problems that can lead from our commitment to our heart business, the thing that we love. And sometimes, or it might even be the thing that increases our reputation and our recognition among other people. Now remember, the clouds card has sides, yeah? The clouds card can be read directionally. A good Lenormand deck will have a really clear indication of the clouds having a light side and a dark side. Sometimes the dark side is on the left-hand side, sometimes the dark side is on the right-hand side. Here, where do you see the light and where do you see the dark in this card? For me, I see the light as being this side, and I see the dark being on this side. So this would be the side of the greatest confusion, of coming delays or coming problems, of coming uncertainty. This side is the side of things clearing, of the clouds parting, the side of the confusion being clearing up, the confusion being cleared up. I was hoping for a better word, but that's the only one that's coming to mind right now. Confusion clearing itself up. And so, we got these cards in which order? We had let's see, for you, this should be the left-hand side, so the moon, the ring, and the clouds. So we see that these cards are on the light side of the cloud card, right? So, even though there has been some confusion and some uncertainty around our heart job, the thing that we love doing, the thing that we do because we love it. Things are in the process of clearing up. Yeah, we're moving past the confusion. Yeah, we can anticipate that the clouds parting for us very soon, very quickly. Which is wonderful, right? And so what's going on beneath the surface of that, where we've been feeling some confusion, we've been feeling some uncertainty, maybe some sense of delays around our commitment, around the heart job that we have, the heart activity, the heart part of our lives that we've committed ourselves to. What's going on beneath that? And what is going on beneath that starts off with, I've got these cards completely out of order, starts off with the cross, right? This is our noun beneath the upper line of three cards. The cross, burdens, fate, destiny. Now, interestingly, for some people, this is a card of spirituality. Yeah, Caitlin Matthews, for example, will move to the spiritual side of the cross card as well. But for me, it's still basically the card of burdens, of destiny perhaps, but of sacrifice and the weightiness of the cross. So, what is modifying that? Well, what's modifying that is the book card. And the book card is a card of secrets most of the time. And this card can be read directionally. Yeah, the side of the binding is where the secrets are probably not going to be revealed. The side where the book is open, or where we can open the book, is where the secrets can be known. So this card can be what is hidden will be revealed, or there's a side where the secrets are just going to be secrets. So we want to look at the surrounding cards to see where the secret is, if we're looking at this card as the card of secrets. But it's also the card of knowledge, right? Books are a way for us to transmit knowledge and information to a larger number of people than, for example, the letter card. Now, they're both written ways of transmitting knowledge, but the letter card is from one person to another. The book disseminates knowledge and information among a group or a larger group, if not a wide group of people. So this could be knowledge being shared, information. It could be studying and learning as well. The activity, not the institution, because the institution of learning and studying would probably be the tower. It can also be something that is closed, but I don't think we're going there, right? So, for me, considering the three cards above, the cross being a burden, what kind of burden? It's a burden of having to learn, having to study, to know more about what we're focusing on, which right now is our commitment to our heart business, to our heart job, to our heart activities. And that could be part of that study, part of that learning could be investigating things, secrets that have not been revealed to us yet. It could be actually the learning of information. It could also be the study of what is the problem? Why is this burden a burden? Right? Learning what's up with me right now. So there are those both aspects of this burden card here, right? It's the burden of having to study. It's also the burden of having to figure out and find out what is causing this sense of confusion or delay for us right now. Which leads to what? It leads to the garden card, right? Which is a neutral card of social interactions, of community, of company. It could be a business group of people working together as a business. But it's the public, right? Being out in the public with many people. It can be networking on a social level or networking on a business level. It can be working with other people, letting other people help us right now. So, our learning, the burden of learning is going to be translated into the public sphere in some way. Right? We may be called to, the burden might be having to share the things that we're learning with other people. Or we may be called to invite other people to help us with this burden of learning. We might be called to network and find people who can help us right now with this burden of figuring things out, of getting knowledge, of learning, increasing what we know about what we want to do. Does that make sense? So, what can support our understanding of the spread? Well, one way to support our understanding of the spread is to read the vertical rows, right? So we start off with the row of the moon and the cross. Now, back up. Yeah, put the car in reverse. We're backing up for just a second because I forgot something. I forgot one thing. Remember that the cross was next to the book, right? Left, right. So the cross was next to the book, and I think this is the correct order for you. If it's not, remember the picture I just showed you. So the cross is next to the book. Now, things that are to the left of the cross, yeah, for us that would be on this side. Things that are to the left of the cross are things that are going to stop. This is a period. Yeah, this is the weighty burden of ending. Not like the coffin, but there is an ending to something here. Things that are on this side of the cross can be enforced and strengthened. So we have the burden of having to learn, but learning and information is highlighted, is enforced by the cross. Right? So we have a really strong emphasis on this learning. And again, we might need to draw people into network to do that learning that we want to do. We might want to ask for help, or we may need to, or we may be called to share the learning that we've been doing or we are doing among a group of people. Like with a YouTube channel, maybe. Or for me, in my Tarot study group, for example. Okay, now moving forward again, we're going to look at the rows, right? The first row, we had the moon above the cross. And why did I suddenly decide to back up? Because there's another way to read these two cards together as they are positioned in this way. The moon is above and the cross is below. So, when things are above the cross, when things are below the cross, these things are depressed. They're the things that are the most burdened. But we don't have anything down there. Things that are above the cross are things that are pushed up. This is our destiny. So what do we have here? Perhaps our increase in reputation and our increase of recognition is being elevated by the cross below. Also, that heart business, that thing that we do because we love doing it, is being elevated from below. It's being pushed up. It's being strengthened. So, this card is being strengthened as much, if maybe even more, than the ring card, which is the central upper card of the spread. Now, which is where we go to get the first clue as to the meaning of the entire spread. But this card, the moon card, being elevated by the cross, by the burden from below, but still elevated, increases the importance of this card right here. So, our heart business, our heart activities are being elevated, as well as our intuition and following our emotions. Those are also elevated here. Maybe even getting clues from our dreams, those are being elevated here as well, which is wonderful. So that really strengthens that idea of the importance of our intuition, but also the things that we do because we love doing them. Now the next row, we have the ring, and below the ring is the book. So, what do we have here? We have a long agreement and a committed relationship to I don't think we have a commitment to secrets. I think we have a commitment to study, to learning, to discovering things that have been outside of our sphere of understanding. Now, we have to commit ourselves to learning the answers to perhaps what is causing the confusion of the clouds. Which is a wonderful message for us to get here in the center, right? Commit ourselves to learning. That's a really good piece of advice. And then we've got these two cards, top being the clouds, the bottom being the garden. So remember, we were asked to perhaps draw other people in to network, to find information, but we may also discover that other people may increase our confusion. Right? Our commitment has got to be to learning, to discovering, to finding information. Right? We want to follow our intuition. We want to follow our heart business. We want to commit to that. And as we network and we reach out, we may discover that other people could also add to our confusion, could add to our to the murkiness, to the lack of clarity. So we want to be discerning about who we're networking with. We want to recognize that not some of the people out there in the public might add to our confusion and to our feeling of ambiguity, to maybe even problems around our heart business. So we don't want to follow everybody, right? We want to be selective. Now we've got another way to read these 6 cards, and that's in the V's or the arrows, right? So the first group of 3 that we're going to look at is the moon, the book, and the clouds. And let me pull those cards out for us. The moon, the book, and the clouds. The moon, the book, and the clouds. Okay, so how do we read these cards together? So let's go this way. So the moon, the book, and the clouds. So here we might actually get the idea of secrets coming out, right? There's information that we don't know yet, which can be affecting our emotions at this time, right? And clouding our emotions, clouding our intuition, clouding our understanding of what we want to be doing, clouding our feelings. And it could be that central idea of that secret. So we've got the secret, the information that we don't know yet. Because we don't know it, our intuition and our feelings of understanding are clouded at this time. Yeah? Does that make sense? And then below that, we've got the cross, the ring, and the garden. So, whoa, okay, just a second. Card went flying. I'll be right back. I have retrieved the card. And so, again, we have the cross, the ring, and the garden. What is that telling us? Well, we have a burden of commitment, right? This really emphasizes that idea of the commitment that we've made perhaps to the thing that we love doing, the thing that we do because we love it, has started to feel like a burden, right? In what way? Maybe because of people around us. Maybe because there are some people around us that are causing us confusion, that we're allowing people around us to distract us, to make us feel that the commitment we've made to what we're doing may have been a misplaced commitment, or that we might feel that we don't know enough, or we're not good enough, or something about what we're doing is not the best. And while, again, a lot of the solution to our confusion might be found in the public sphere, not all of the people in that public sphere are going to be of benefit for us. And so some of that confusion or that feeling of burden that we get to our commitment to doing the thing that we love to do might be coming from the outside. It might be coming from the people around us. Rocking the boat, rocking our feeling of stability, causing a little bit of, allowing us to feel confusion, or a little bit of a lack of clarity. Does that make sense? Okay, now there's one more thing for us to consider, right? We add the inserts, we add the card inserts up to get a new pairing of cards. And I don't have the cards with me, but if we add the top row, we have the 8 of hearts for the moon, we have the ace of spades for the ring, and we have the ace of clubs for the ring, and then we have the king of spades for the clouds on the top. The king of clubs for the clouds. Okay, so again, we have the 8 of hearts for the moon, we have the ace of clubs for the ring, and then we have the king of clubs for the clouds. Right? So these 3 cards together, those inserts add up to 22, which is crossroads. Right? Crossroads. And then the 3 cards below, the 6 of clubs for the cross, the 10 of diamonds for the book, and then the 8 of spades for the garden. Those add up to 24, which is the heart. So, top row gives us crossroads, bottom row gives us heart. What does that mean? Well, the crossroads, that is the card of choices, of decisions. That we need to make a decision now. And then the heart can be love, but it can also be doing what we love. So this spread is calling us to make the decision to choose in the area of doing what we love. It's making the choice that is going to help us through the confusion that we might be experiencing. That is getting ready to dissipate around our commitment to doing the thing that we love. It's all about choosing. And what do we want to choose? We want to choose knowledge. We want to choose learning. We want to choose figuring it out. And figuring it out might be bringing other people into this, right? To get some help, to get some more information, to network. It could also be sharing the knowledge that we have in the public sphere. But we need to make a choice, and we need to act on that choice. Now we need to make the choice of the crossroads in the area of our heart business, of doing what we love to do. That makes sense, yes? Okay, so friends, we've got 4 more cards from the tarot that will help us to parse out what to do. So friends, here are the 4 cards from the tarot deck right now. What do you think of those 4 cards? Do they look like happy cards, or do they look like less than happy cards? Well, it's a mixed bag, right? You saw in the fire section we had the 5 of cups. Sorry, let's see. For you, that should be here. The fire section we had the 5 of cups. In the water section we had the Four of Swords. In the air section, we had the Two of Cups. And then in the earth section, we had the King of Swords. So we have 2 cups and 2 swords. So this spread is generally about our emotions and our mind, which really does reinforce that the ideas that we got from those 6 Lenormand cards, right? About choosing and making decisions and learning in the area of our intuition, perhaps, of our heart business, of the things that we love to do. And I'm going to be reading with elemental dignities. And just in case you don't know what that means, let me give you a really brief rundown. So each one of the elements, fire, water, air, earth, has an element that is has one element that is itself, right? We have an element that is its best buddy that increases the energy of that element. We have an element that is neutral. Yeah, they get along together, but they don't build each other up or they don't tear each other down. And then we have an element that is ill-dignified, which means that they sap energy from each other. So, for example, for fire and fire together, they're very strong, right? Fire and air together, they build each other up. They increase each other's energy. Fire and earth together, they're fine, they're cool. They don't build each other up, they don't tear each other down. Fire and water, they are antagonistic. Water saps the energy of fire, fire burns up water, right? So, right now, we're starting off in the fire section with a very negative water card, right? So that very strongly emphasizes the ill dignity of this card in the fire section. So our passions right now are where? They are drowned out in things like regret, disappointment. You know, these are some of the ideas of the Five of Cups. Maybe pessimism, maybe mourning over the decisions we've made. Right? Our passion is watered down by our feeling of disappointment and regret. Maybe we feel like we might have made the wrong choice, maybe, or this choice is too hard. But remember, look at this card, right? This figure on the card is looking at 3 cups which are knocked over and ignoring the 2 cups which are behind. There's good stuff here, but we're not giving our attention to that. We're allowing our fire to be doused by our focus on things that have become burdensome, that have been knocked over. We feel regret over, we feel disappointment over what we had hoped for, right? And then we move into our water section, which is our emotions. So what is this saying about our hearts? Well, we get the Four of Swords. Air. Air and water, they're fine together. No problems here. So, what is the suggestion for our emotional lives? It's to do what? It's to rest, to relax. Yeah, the Four of Swords card is the card of recuperation and recovery, maybe even meditation and contemplation. So we want to allow our heart some time to heal. We want to focus on our hearts, on our emotions, and allow ourselves to give ourselves the space to recover. And maybe if we recover, we'll be able to solve the challenges of this card in the fire section. Yeah? So we want ourselves to heal emotionally. And maybe even do some meditation. Maybe do some heart meditation. Have you ever heard of heart meditation where as you sit in meditation, you give attention to the energy entering the heart and healing the heart chakra or healing the emotional area of the chest, right? Now we can Breathe into the heart. Feel the breath coming into the heart and cleansing, and then exhaling the challenges and the difficulties and the disappointments and perhaps the depression that we might be feeling. And so, where are our minds? Yeah? Our minds are, we have the Two of Cups for our air, right? So our minds, our understanding, our perspective is all about what? It's about partnership, of commitment. We want to put our minds in the area of partnership, working with other people, of friendship, of affinity, of making the commitment. And it could be a commitment to ourselves. It could be a commitment to our relationship with ourselves, but it could be a commitment with other people. So we want to make a clear, conscious decision around our partnerships, around our friendships, around our commitment to other. And so we bring that down into the earth, into our daily lives, into our health. And here we have a challenge. Yeah? This is a wonderful card, a powerful card, but here on the earth, air and earth are ill-dignified. So this is not going to be easy for us. And this is the card of mental clarity, of having wide, long perspectives, seeing widely and deeply. Yeah? It's the card of intellectual power and also authority, claiming our authority, of analysis and our commitment to truth, which will be of great benefit to us. Remember those clouds up there. We want to solve that cloud dilemma, but this is not going to be easy. Yeah? This card being here in the earth, it's uncomfortable. There's a challenge here. Maybe a challenge to be strived for, but it's not going to be an easy challenge. And here is where our challenge for this week's spread is. It's to attain the clarity, to find our truth, to feel our authority, to claim our authority in the work that we're doing. And that's going to be challenging. But being challenging doesn't mean that it's impossible. It just means it takes more power, more energy. It takes more commitment. Commitment, right? And that commitment is going to be a little bit of a burden, because it's down here in the earth. Instead of in the head, it's down here, which is good, but challenging. And that was off camera. It's down here. It's down here in the gut, in our root chakra, which is powerful but not easy. And so there we have it, the burden of commitment. Does that make sense to you? And it's that clarity that's going to pierce the muddiness of this card which is drowning out our passion, which is what we committed ourselves to, right? It's our passion that we committed ourselves to in doing the thing that we love. But that's watered down now by confusion, by disappointment, by regrets even, maybe. But we want to find that clarity. But that clarity is challenging because it's down in the earth. Okay, friends, I'm going to stop rambling. I hope that makes sense. If it makes sense to you, let me know in the comments below. If it does not make sense to you, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And friends, I love you. I really love that you are here with me on this journey through the Lenormand. And I hope this journey through the Lenormand with me is meaningful for you. And if you want a reading from me, let me know either in the comments below, or my email address is going to be in the description box. Send me an email to thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com and we'll get you a reading. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.